Did you know as of November 2024, there were more than 1 million applications in backlog, and out of this 1 million applications, almost 37% were permanent residence applications. Now, so many of you out there who have received their portal request or port P1 or I don't like these nomenclatures, but people who have received their portal confirmations and have been waiting anxiously for their ECOPRs or finalization or confirmation of their permanent residence. You guys are really anxious. You guys have been waiting since October, November, December, and some of you even earlier than that. Not only these people, but also applications that have been stuck in the backlog with the provinces. OINP, I am hearing of applications that have been in backlog since April. Saskatchewan, applications in process since for a year almost now. Manitoba, similar story. Nova Scotia, which was earlier quite fast, seeing applications in backlog for a very, very long time. So what exactly is going on with all these delays? Now, I do not have clear answers for you. So before you go on and start, shooting me down with this one, I do not have clear answers for this. This is primarily speculation based on a lot of things that are happening around at this point of time. And also at the same time, looking at these small nuggets of information that comes from IRCC to sort of try to piece together this jigsaw puzzle as to what exactly is going on right now with IRCC. First off the bat, IRCC had earlier, if you remember long back, Sean Fraser, and I'm saying long back, I mean a couple of years back, Sean Fraser had said that they are recruiting and hiring more people so that they can process the applications faster. At that point of time, it was understood that just the express entry or PR application streams had approximately 33% staff additional. And that would have basically meant that the processing times would be brought back to normal. And that is what primarily happened earlier during the COVID time. You're looking at applications taking 1.5, 2 years for processing. We're talking about express entry PR application. And this timeline was brought down. Not only was it brought down, it actually shrunk and shrunk quite well. A lot of people were happy. 6 months were back again and for processing. We were actually seeing applications getting processed in as quickly as 2 to 3 months. And people started having expectations that everybody's applications should start getting processed in this period of time. But then things have started changing. You're already aware that there are changes to the permanent resident targets. You're already aware that there are changes to the temporary resident targets. The number of study permit applications have been capped. The number of permanent residents numbers have been slashed. The numbers are down. Parents, grandparents intake for this year has been paused. Very recently, spouse open work permit application intakes are now also subject to new changes. So lots and lots of changes are there on the horizon, which have already been implemented. Not only that, we're also understanding that there might be some more that might be coming in. Of course, a lot of you are waiting for the LMIA points to be removed. But overall, what has also now happened is that IRCC has announced a cut in their workforce. So IRCC employs roughly 35,000 people across the board, and of which they have decided to cut 3,300 jobs over the next 3 years. But they haven't identified who would these people be. So there is this, panic mode at this point of time because this came out of nowhere. Now, it's understandable that when they're going to reduce these numbers of permanent residents and temporary residents, that the number of staff that is required to handle these applications would also be less. That's understandable. But what's not understandable is that while these people are still employed and nothing has changed drastically in terms of the entire dynamics or the circumstances, what then suddenly resulted in spousal sponsorship application timelines to cross 20 months? What resulted in the non-express entry PR application processing times to cross 20 months? I mean, they jumped from 13 months to 20 months. Spousal sponsorship application jumped from about 14 months to 24 months. You can see all of this on the IRCC website, these processing times that they keep changing. What exactly is going on? Now, nobody has a clear answer. But of course, as I said, there are a lot of speculations around. First of all, the people who are not getting their COPRs all through October, November, December, well, that was primarily to do with the immigration levels plan, immigration targets for 2024. Now, again, you will very soon hear this news that the immigration targets were achieved and very well achieved as far as 2024 is concerned. And whenever this happens, and this has been happening, there is precedence to this. We have seen it historically as well. Whenever this happens, they hold back on issuance of COPRs. And the COPRs then starts getting released in the month of January and goes on until February. We started seeing that early in January as well. And then suddenly again, for a week or so, there is a pause. We aren't seeing any more COPRs being issued. There is a talk that a lot of applications are being reassigned to different offices because of the processing backlogs. There is also talks about changing of certain systems, and of course with this information about the cuts. Now, we came to know about the cuts only once the media made it clear, but the rumors of these cuts have already been ongoing for quite some time. Other than that, there are also workers within IRCC who still work from home. There is still remote work which is ongoing, and that also adds to this whole processing queue. We have to bear in mind that the IRCC's GCMS system is not a good one, not a perfect one. Obviously, it was designed in 2010, and from there on, it has shown many areas of glitches, of concerns. And just look at a screenshot. This was obtained by our very good friend Stephen Mirrens to the ATIP notes, where it shows that in 2023, the GCMS system had flagged issues where the documents were being misassigned, and these offices were instructed to pause the processing. This is just one example where the application's processing is paused, and therefore one of the big reasons that we see in many cases with delays and lack of processing as far as IRCC is concerned is usually the glitches in the system. Again, the current processing times, as we are seeing, which are getting longer, this could again be one of those reasons as well. Now, as I said, I do not have a clear answer, and I know a lot of you are still looking for that. So about these COPR delays, the only thing that we do understand at this point of time is that IRCC did process applications at a faster pace that they otherwise would have, resulting in they having a bigger backlog of COPRs to be cleared, and also COPRs that if they do clear, too many of them probably will be exceeding the targets for the month, for the quarter, or whatever that they might have. So probably they're holding some of these back. And again, if you are in that situation of this P1s and P2s, all I can say is have a little bit of patience. It should come through soon. My bigger concern is actually with the backlogs that are with the provinces. So many applications in the backlog, whether it's Ontario, whether it's Saskatchewan, whether it's the other provinces. The issue now is that IRCC has slashed their quotas by 50%. What that means is, historically, provinces would continue to issue their invitations, they would continue to process their nominations, and if they have issued more invitations and if they have processed more applications, they would simply take out from the next year's quotas and continue with the process. Now, obviously, since October, we have already known that the PNP quotas are going to be reduced. And that is when we have seen the biggest backlogs started increasing from there on. That's where they sort of put a break on how many applications they are now releasing for nomination. And if you would basically speak to others on different platforms, different groups, that's where you will notice that the biggest break has come from October onwards. That's when the PNP targets were announced, or rather the immigration levels plan for 2024 was announced. Obviously, as we are now into 2025, the 2025's immigration targets, immigration quotas, PNP quotas will now apply. And therefore, if provinces have oversubscribed or have overissued or have processed their applications, they will have to hold back the nominations so that they can only release as many as they can as per the quotas that are announced. For most provinces, they have already announced what their new 2025 quotas are. Most of them are disappointed. Of course, they all wanted more people, more nominees slot. They all wanted more nominee spots, but I don't think they're getting any. For most of them, it's all 50% slashed. You can take a look at the media releases. For the Atlantic provinces, they've all been slashed by 50%. Similar numbers are expected for Ontario in terms of 50% slashed. For Ontario, Saskatchewan, Alberta, and British Columbia. We haven't heard of these provinces, but most of the other provinces we're already aware of it. So collectively, these are the things that are creating a bit of a panic amongst a lot of people, anxiety, stress moments as to why the COPRs are not being issued, why their nominations are being held back, and in cases like spousal sponsorship applications, in cases like non-express entry PR applications, the ridiculous, almost double the processing time, which is resulting in a lot of people having to rethink as to which stream they should apply in, or should they have to apply for a bridge open work permit now? Do they have to apply for extension of their status? And obviously, not only does it create more financial expense in terms of extensions, in terms of change of status, in terms of regularizing your status in Canada, but you cannot even talk about the stress and the anxiety levels there. Now, once you do get your P1s, P2, can anything go wrong with your application? Well, it's pretty much a done deal, I would say, for most of you out there. But can you get asked for additional documents? Can you get asked for medicals again, police clearances again? Can you get asked for any other documentation? The answer is yes. You are not a permanent resident until you are a permanent resident. And yes, things can happen, things can change. IRCC can always ask you for additional documents. I myself have seen a few cases where people receive procedural fairness right after having received their P2 or portal confirmation before the COPRs were released, and only after the concerns were addressed of the visa officer, only then did we manage to get our COPRs. Now, they could happen in variety of cases, but provincial nominee program applicants who are getting their P2s, that is one of the most common ones when sometimes PFLs come through there. Why? Because the officer is not convinced that the applicant's intent to reside in the province is genuine. That's where the P2 comes, because the address that you have mentioned in your P2 is not in the province that you are intending to go, that has nominated you, and now the officer is not sure, is not convinced whether you actually want to go to the province that you said you will be going in. So these small things do create those issues. Overall, I'm hoping as and how we get in towards the end of January and then hopefully into February, we should start seeing most of these COPRs that have been stuck in this backlog to be released. You will be all heaving a sigh of relief. But more importantly, I would like to see all those nominations that have been stuck in the backlogs with most of these provinces. Seeing those through would be really, really good. Fingers crossed. We are expecting and hoping for an express entry draw soon. Let's see how that rolls, and I'll keep you updated when I hear something new.